to know that this is synergistic is, will this person trigger me? And because the answer is always yes, when they do trigger me, can we have a conversation about it?
Intergalactic beings of multi-dimensional realities. Welcome to Channeling.
I've been channeling unconditional love lately, and I feel like many people really need unconditional love. So much of our lives are built on conditions. That's the whole 3D experience. And so really kind of my message is to acknowledge the binary system that we're in and then stand in your power. And where you land in that binary, right? Like nobody's going to be perfect, all love and light. Nobody's going to be perfect, all dark and doomy. Where do you land on that spectrum?
Yeah. I think, that compassion plays in honoring that we're all kind of on that journey together. We're all very human, but we all have beautiful depths of light, of love within us, and learning how those two can support each other and honor each other, I think is really important. And that's what I'm hearing when I hear you say those things. I'm going to introduce you, my lovely cat, to our audience. So all of you who are watching and listening today, my guest is Cat Gollata. And did I say your last name right? Because I've never heard it pronounced. Is that right?
It's Polish, so it's Gollata with a little less accent on the "ata." Yeah.
Okay. Gollata.
Gollata.
Okay, so it's Cat Gollata, everybody. Yeah. And she is just a beautiful soul that I met. It's kind of like one of those kismet things that happen. And of course, this has been happening a lot lately. It's like I'll see a little something and I'm like, that looks interesting. And I go and I click the button, or I go where that's going. And I post something that normally I don't. And suddenly someone responds and there's this connection, and it's something really, really beautiful. And I jumped onto a site called Side Chicks. Is that how you say that too? Side Chicks.
Yeah, Side Chicks.
Yeah, and I've been so surprised at how comfortable I felt, how supportive I felt. The lack of competitive feeling on that site, the huge amount of feeling of support that's there, people who are wanting to step into their abilities, have fun, learn, understand the depths of all of their talents, and just be in a supportive environment to do that, right? And that's what I felt entering into that space. And you are there. You're kind of one of the people help supporting the space, right?
I am, yeah.
And from what I understand, we're going to really jump into some beautiful experiences around our neural network in our brain, how we think, how our thoughts move, the patterns that we create in our life. And today, Kat really is an expert on what she calls brain spotting and NeuroArt. And we're going to be kind of delving through what that can gift us. And you particularly have talked about kind of neurodivergent people and what it's helped you do and you become. And I am so touched because I have people close to me who are neurodivergent, and sometimes it's hard to be able to know how to assist them. It feels like really society is not made to address a lot of what they're going through. And so I'm just so excited today to explore, to expand, and maybe get a taste of this medicine for myself. If we do that. So
yeah.
So I've spoken a lot. Cat, I wanted to welcome you with big open arms. Welcome to Channeling.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. Such an honor. And yes, Kismet experience meeting. It's one of those situations where in my grand plan with my life, I was like, I know I'm going to be public speaking in some way. Is this going to be podcast on a TED stage? I don't know. I'm just going to enjoy the journey. And here we are. So I'm really thrilled to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I love that. And it's so interesting because the first time I saw your picture, I was like, I know her. And I love it when that happens. It's just like, oh, I know this person. And you just have this bright, young, vibrant spirit to you and energy. And I'm excited to explore today. And so welcome to your debut of the public eye, I guess you could say.
Yes, well, thank you.
Yes. So I just wanted to offer you the opportunity to share how you came into these techniques that you use now, and the advantages or the benefits that they have been for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey really started when I had some repressed memories coming up. As I was processing that trauma, I came across a brain spotting practitioner, and she helped guide me through the whole trauma experience and really understand it. And then from there, she helped me blossom, right? So it went far beyond just the shadow work, the trauma work, this 3D earthly experience. It went into like that ethereal place of being supported as a divine being. And it was just the most sublime experience for me personally. So then from there, after I had healed and I blossomed, I was like working full time, putting myself in school. I had my kid, and I was like, I am rocking this life, dude. Like, let's get it. Some things came up. I went into my brain spotting training. And when I came back from my brain spotting training, I had that whisper, like, you're ready, go. And I was like, okay, but where am I going to go? Like, good. I'll like restart my Facebook for my business, but like, what am I going to do with it then? Like, I have no audience. And then lo and behold, here comes Side Chicks. And I found this beautiful community of people who are looking for this type of deep soul work, you know? And so from that point, I knew, I have a business. I have services that I can offer people to allow them that space to heal. And how can I get these people to really just dip their toes in? Right? And so I was looking for other forms of neural reprogramming. I stumbled across neuro-linguistic programming. After I started my training, truthfully, I never really finished it because I was like, I've been doing this my whole life. So I don't need to finish the training because I've already got that wisdom, that lived experience. And so then I moved on and I found NeuroArt. And this was a completely new experience for me. For me, every time that someone's described creative pursuits, it's been writing, poetry, music, maybe painting, sculpting. Very rarely do we talk about these masculine creative energies, right? So like the problem solving, the architecture, things like this, like those are also creative. You've seen these beautiful buildings over in ancient Europe, right?
Oh, yeah.
We've seen these beautiful buildings uncovered from ancient Mesopotamia. The pyramids, gorgeous. Yeah. That's all masculine creative energy, which is different than feminine creative energy, but they both need to be balanced, right? And so through this neural reprogramming, this NeuroArt specifically, it becomes a meditative practice, particularly when you're a beginner, because all you're doing is allowing that flow. You're just experiencing it. I don't even want to say allowing it, because some people don't even know that it's happening, right? So it's just an experience. And I can tell you right now, from the first few classes that I've run, from the first few one-on-one sessions that I've run, teaching these people this NeuroArt modality of healing, we're 20 minutes in and they're like, I get it. I get it now. Like, I can make my own decisions. Like, this is my life and I get to choose it. And it's just watching that light bulb. And I'm like, yes. Thank you. You understand. This is the way you choose. So yeah, it's a beautiful way for people to get out of their way, right? So you have to get out of your mind in meditation, and then the messages come in more clearly. And then from out of meditation, then you interpret those messages, right? So through the NeuroArt, people get that meditation, they get those messages, and then they sit back and they're looking at their piece and they're like, yeah, I understand the message. It's just beautiful. If you'd like, this is one of the pieces that I'm working on right now.
You know, I
so you
saw
can kind of see
that. Yeah. So gorgeous.
Yeah.
Wow.
So all of those like little wavy lines.
Yeah. That is so cool. I love that. You know, your story reminds me of when I started doing art, and it was a meditative process for me. Like, I sat in front of the canvas and it was this magical experience of watching something come through. And it was just me holding the space for that expression, you know, as long and as strong as I could while the process was happening. It was really lovely. So I'm excited to kind of see into the exact way you go into that process. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, like, when I'm creating a NeuroArt piece, because now I've been meditating for years, and now I've gotten to a point that I meditate multiple times during my day. So now when I'm creating NeuroArt, just like in my free time, I create it with intention. And so this is a piece that I created with intention.
Wow.
And yeah. So first off, up to this piece, every single piece that I had ever seen was always on white. And something in source told me, we need to try this on black. And I was like, okay, we can try it on black, but how do we get this to come through? Because there's not white markers. A paint pen wouldn't quite get that flow right. And so I just picked up a random marker at one of the craft stores, and I'm like, we're just going to try it. Even if it's not great, even if it's not the ideal marker, let's just throw it on the paper and see what happens. So I did. As I'm creating this piece, source tells me, why don't you pull a card? So I pulled a card, and the message through the entire meditation as I'm doing this and channeling and then pulling my cards was, you will learn to use discernment in determining false friends and flattery. And so that's just been kind of a theme lately. What I've recognized is, you know, we started here coming and saying we want to support this collective human experience, right? And so this false friends and flattery reminder was that, you know, we don't have to be friends. Yeah. We can love each other unconditionally, support each other, and be joyous in your joy without being friends. We don't have to be close. We don't have to be intimate. We don't have to share details of our lives outside of the happy things, you know? And so I think it just kind of, for me, this particular piece broadened my view and my definition of what it means to connect with people. So
That's
it brings
beautiful.
a lot of clarity.
I love that, because something that the last while has come through me is it's along the similar vein. Really, my guide's speaking about the difference between wanting to feel special and truly owning your own depth and your unique soul and your unique expression. And there's a difference between the two. And there's a difference between the satiation that you feel and the, the fulfillment that you feel. And really identifying that, because nothing can take the place of you really owning that uniqueness. No accolades, no recognition on YouTube, no anything can really replace you honoring your own unique design, your own unique expression, and being in that foundation, having that as your home. So it's really interesting to hear what you say, and also feeling it from kind of the voice of my guides and seeing how those align. That's really cool. And I feel like you speaking that is reminding me too, in some specifics, and you may connect really deeply with someone, but it doesn't necessarily mean that right now they're supposed to play a certain role in your life, because we can connect, and we also have roles that we play with each other, and roles of support, and we get to decide the degrees and what's appropriate and what's not appropriate at the moment. And it may shift, it may change, I love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Continue speaking, Kat. Continue.
Well, and actually, that's a really great segue to neuro reprogramming in general, because like I mentioned earlier, setting up those binaries, anytime we have an interaction with another human, that's our binary, right? So when we're sitting alone in our head, we could call that a binary, right? Like we're talking to like our body and source at the same time. But sometimes that's not always the most accurate reflection, because our brains have been programmed for the 3D world. So until you've shed some of that programming, this conversation internally is not true. Okay. I'm just going to say that as gently as possible. Okay. So now that we've got, yes, exactly. It might be coming through an opaque window versus a transparent window, right? So you might get the overall vibration of the message, but the translation is unclear. It's like hearing Spanish, but you only speak English.
Yeah.
So then you've got these human interactions, right? So me and you, we're a human interaction. In these sort of interactions, what I'm looking for to know that this is synergistic is, will this person trigger me? And because the answer is always yes, when they do trigger me, can we have a conversation about it? Because what I've recognized is that when I'm having these interactions, particularly in these like healing worlds, I don't even want to just keep it into the metaphysical, but even in the just healing worlds, what I've recognized is that we're all asking each other to invite our inner child. We're all going to come out and play. We're going to sing and hold hands, and we're going to dance. Well, what happens when little Cat gets hurt? Does little Cat just get kicked out of the circle? No, little Cat wants to express how they're feeling, and then from that point, how do we fix this? Okay. If it doesn't get to the how do we fix it point, if it gets to the defensive point of let me explain why I did to you what I did to you, that's not synergy anymore. That is me seeing a reflection of your ego. That is not me seeing a reflection of your source, your soul. And what that tells me is that there's a cognitive dissonance there. Right. So I've gone through a lot of brain spotting. I've gone through a lot of that neural reprogramming already for myself. So it's a lot easier for me to recognize that cognitive dissonance in others. And so for me, it's not necessarily, I want to say this right. It's not necessarily a means to end any sort of connection with anyone. It's rather a way to celebrate them as they are, accept them on their current journey, right? Yeah. I can't wake anyone up I can't crack someone's egg for them. How traumatic would that be for this little unborn soul in this egg to just be cracked open with no foundation to stand on? No, that's not my job. That's their soul's job. That's his job. That's their soul contract. What I'm here to do is love you unconditionally. I am here to accept you in your joy. I am here to support you in your journey. And that's really all it is. That's what synergy is for me. That's what a community is for me. When I meet someone, when I'm expressing a hurt to them, and I'm met with defensiveness and being turned around onto me, what it tells me is I'm not wrong, but I do need to reassess how I'm going to love them. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah. I think it's a good standard to know really where someone's at and, you know, perhaps where their pain is and what they're able to manage.
It's important to note where they talk about their life being now versus how their actions align with how they're talking about their life. Because that's part of how they talk about their life is what initially attracted me to them, right?
Yeah.
So there is synergy there, but it's just not current alignment.
Yeah.
So now that I've identified that there's a misalignment with the synergy, now it's just me realigning with myself to figure out, again, how do I love this person? How do I keep the synergistic flow of what drew me to them initially? And sometimes that means reeling it back, right? So let's just like say hypothetically, I've got a coworker and we connect really well and I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And then as we're talking, I find out that actually they've shared some information that I've asked them not to share and whatever. Now we've broken trust. Well, now we're back to coworkers. We're not friends, we're colleagues. And I'm happy to share all of the happy parts of my life. Anything that's Facebook worthy, you know? If you can see it on my public socials, I'll share it with you.
It's so funny. It feels like I'm hearing Cat's way of kind of the levels of boundaries, the levels of ways of support of Cat, right? And that you've delineated certain levels of where you find things are appropriate, and a part of it comes through by, you interacting and you, of course, giving people a shot. But also you have a particular proclivity or availability to see maybe when something isn't quite in alignment, something doesn't line up in the way you thought it would. And being able to share that with someone, I think, can be really tricky because sometimes people are ready to hear it and sometimes they're not ready to hear it. Because hearing that you're out of alignment, then it's like, well, I don't know how to fix that, or do I need to fix that? Or is this an interpretation thing? Or do I just get to learn something about the depth of how you see things? There's a lot that goes on in relationships and how we communicate with each other. And you have a unique ability to see because you've learned how to unwrap yourself from or unravel some of the dissonance in life. And you see how to do that. And some people, they're just like, I don't know. I don't know what to do that. I'm faking it till I make it. I mean, that kind of old adage. And sometimes we do. Sometimes we step forward and we're in the process of figuring out how to bring ourselves into a full alignment. And we're kind of scooching a little more here and we're scooching a little more here. And we're kind of in that process. It's lovely to hear you speak about these things because it's medicine for me. It's medicine for me. But also, I'm just curious as I would love for you to talk about kind of having that, I forget what you say. It's like you have these two sides that can talk back and forth so you can feel that dissonance. Is that kind of what I'm hearing from you? What is the term that you used? for that?
Just a cognitive binary is what I set myself up into. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, as we're talking about relationships, this is particularly helpful for me, the neurodivergent side of things, right? Because one thing that's a characteristic trait is that socializing can be difficult. And so I decided very early on that I didn't want to have that sort of limitation. I didn't want to have that sort of difficulty. And so anytime I'm triggered, I turn that on myself, right? So if I'm like, wow, that person was really mean to me, I look back at the interaction. Hindsight is 20/20. So I look back at the interaction. I'm like, how could I have been perceived as mean? Was it my tone? Was it a word that I used? And this isn't to go back and sit back and sort of like this shame and guilt and anxious, negative place, because then what I do is I acknowledge that, yes, I may have been perceived as mean.
Yeah.
This was the intent of my message, right?
Yeah.
Intention gets you to hell in a handbag. So we don't stop there. Now we go into repair, right? So now we go from, I was perceived as mean. That wasn't my intent. My intent was to be firm.
Yeah.
So now let's revisit the conversation, because I wasn't being mean. And the fact that I felt you were mean to me meant that you were reflecting whatever I was already putting off. And sometimes I have to just kind of give this disclaimer. Sometimes there are people who project onto you, right? And there's no doubt about that. When you feel that projection then, and you go into this step 2 of what was my intention, did you align with that intention? If you aligned with that intention, then we don't even have to go into step 3 of repair mode, because step 3 then becomes self-love, showing yourself that unconditional love and giving the other person an invitation to invite you the way that you know you deserve. That's as simple as it is. We all deserve love. And the way that we experience love, the way that we feel love is different for everyone. There's hundreds of books written on love languages. So sometimes it's really just a matter of like, let's have a conversation. And for me, those conversations always start internally. And I always have to get back to that point of, was I coming from love? And if I wasn't, can I come back to it with love? You know? And I've definitely, I'm human. I've definitely burned so many bridges because I was like, no, I can't come back to that with love. And then you learn.
Wow, interesting. This is kind of this is a new world that I'm stepping in, and how you're viewing it. And for me, oftentimes what I do is I'm I want to be in a space when I look at something where the compassion is there, and I can be with the emotion, but yet I'm not getting pulled into the story, sometimes we get, it's like our egos or whatever the patterns are. It's in order for us to feel safe, we pull ourselves into the story of and they were bad, and this was that, and they were evil. And when really just the simple reality was, I felt this emotion. I felt unsafe. I felt insecure. I felt in shock. I didn't, whatever it was, and being able to simply be with that. And I love how it seems like you're taking this in a way of acknowledging what your experience, what seems to be from another person, right? And acknowledging how that aspect or that quality is somehow being expressed through you, I guess. You somehow get to own it. And then you see if it's in alignment, and if any repair needs to come. That's when you come in with the true kind of loving experience of self-love, is that correct?
self-love, or it really just, let's even broaden that out, unconditional love. Because really what's
Uh-huh.
happening is now I've acknowledged my soul, my source piece, which is
Mm-hmm.
part of source.
Uh-huh.
And I've acknowledged your soul, your source piece, which is part of source. If we're all one, aren't we
Uh-huh.
all love?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I'm coming from a place of love, if every interaction that I have, the intention behind it is unconditional love, I know that's what I'm getting back. And when I don't feel like I'm getting
Mm.
that back, this is that healing human experience, right? So now
Yeah.
I've acknowledged I went into this with the intention of love and I didn't get it back. What do they need? How do they need to
Mm.
be supported? And oftentimes, and I
Interesting.
see this a lot with particularly, I don't even want to put a label on it. I
Yeah.
see this a lot when people want to use certain situations as like an excuse or like an escape from the reality of a situation.
Mm.
And what I've found is that when you come back to that, at least for me, I have to come gently, right? So,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
in my gentle way, I activate people's soul, I activate their abilities. And so I just sit down and very gently ask them yes or no questions. Just
Ooh,
like I
can we
would a tarot
start?
deck, just like I would a
Can
pendulum.
we start? I want to do this with you. I want to do this with you. I'm going to take a sip of my tea.
Okay, so, well, let
Mm.
me ask, did you want to do like an intuitive tuning like this? Otherwise, I also do have my magic wand and I could help you activate a spot, like maybe worthiness. Like, do you feel like you deserve all the good things and that they should last in your life? Like, maybe.
I like both of them, but gosh, we're getting on worthiness. I love this idea of this magic wand, but I got to tell you something. The word
Yeah.
worthiness triggers me. So this is going to be a
Ooh,
good one
it
because
will be.
to me, the word worthy is a game that can be held over someone's head. And I don't like that because whoever one gives authority to is the one that gets to say whether you're worthy or not. And just the idea of worthy means that, oh, I could be unworthy then too. And so to me, I'm just like, I just want to cancel the whole fucking thing out, you know? Like I want to just be able to say, I listen to my heart, right? And I hear what I want.
Mhm.
But also there's a part of me that wants to say, yeah, I want to be able to feel a surety in that, if that makes any sense. And so maybe that's really what the magic is that's wanting to come forward because I feel the magic in what you're trying to do. And so maybe let's go on this ride
We'll do
and see what
this. All
happens.
right, let's
Yeah.
move in. Okay. So, how this will work is I'll use this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just check in with you. Do you have like good body awareness? Do you feel your emotions in your body for the most part?
Yes. Yeah.
So, what I'll do is first I come across the x axis, so horizontally. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to look for some bodily triggers, maybe that would indicate that's a window to our spot.
Okay.
After I come across this x axis, I'm going to check in with you, see if there's maybe a spot that you felt it more than I picked up on.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, we're going up and down on the y axis. And we're
Yeah.
just going to hold that spot for a little bit and just see what comes forward. We're going to be curious.
I am so excited.
Okay. So just want to check in and see if I'm on the edge of the screen right here. Is this
Mm-hmm.
like about eye level for you?
It is.
Okay. So I'm just going to start coming across slowly.
And do I
Think
follow?
about
Do I follow or just allow you to do the
worthiness.
process? Oh, wow. I feel that. That's cool.
So you're just following the pointer, thinking about worthiness. I would also invite you to think about the authority that's giving you that permission to feel worthy. Now, as I've come across, I do think I found for sure one spot. Was there any spot in particular? Where were you feeling it most?
I feel it near my heart, but also like I feel almost like this presence on my left side. It's really interesting. It's just like there's an energy there. It feels kind of masculine or something. I don't know what that is, but that's unique. That's interesting. I haven't felt that before.
Okay.
Not on my left side, my right side. Sorry, it's your left side, but my right side probably right here.
So then, when you're looking at this point, do you feel that energy more? Okay, now I'm going to go up and down from this spot. Let me know if you're feeling it more when I go up.
Up, yeah, there.
Yeah, right there. All right,
A little bit
I'm going
lower.
to just hold this spot.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Just remember, I'm here with you. You're safe to go as deep as you want.
Wow.
Keep going.
Wow. This is so trippy. So if all of you are out there listening, all those who are listening, I'm feeling huge shifting. This opening is extended up over under my jaw, connecting into my heart. And it feels almost like this communication on the left side of my body going out to this area in the front of me on the right side. It's really quite amazing. And it just keeps on opening more and more. And it's going down my body, the front of my body. Even below my pubic area. So
I'm feeling like a worthiness baptism right now.
what was that? I feel like that shift, like it's kind of centered now. I'm centered now again. It's interesting. And now I feel like now as my body is swaying a little bit forward and backward, like it's kind of in this little sway. That's so cool.
So truthfully, once you've started swaying, that's usually when my cognition is saying you've probably cleared whatever needed to be cleared to keep your own process going. So I just do want to invite you to look back at this spot.
Okay.
think again about those feelings of worthiness. And I just kind of want to check in with you and what sort of thoughts you might have about the authority that comes behind worthiness.
It's, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's real in a way. It's like a non-issue, I guess I could say. Like visually, what I'm seeing is it's almost like it's this scene like I'm sitting at the ocean, and I'm looking out on the waves, and I can see the boats coming in, and any one of those boats, I can decide, like they all have different colored sails, and any one of those boats I can decide is mine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that simple. I can decide it's mine. And there's nothing attached to it in any way, shape, or form other than it's that simple.
Just because you choose.
That simple, right? Yeah, it's just that simple. And all the stories that surrounding it are not even involved in it. You know?
Exactly.
Part of me can see that there used to be stories like, oh no, that would be stealing from someone or whatever, you know, that all these different layers of stories, you know, what is the process of having that boat or whatever? No, it's just me simply saying, that's my boat, and knowing it and smiling and knowing, oh, I see the sail. That's my boat. It's that simple. And there's nothing else to it.
Yes.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, I loved this so much. Just like I could feel you flowing. It was so beautiful. And now I'm getting goosebumps over my whole body. Like even on my forehead, I am getting goosebumps. I love this.
That is magic. That's magic. I love it.
I told you. I have a legitimate magic wand.
Oh my gosh. This is so fun. I mean, and literally what's so great, Kat, is that I really feel totally different. I mean, like I feel different. That really has been cleaned up for me. And how long did that take? A few minutes.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's my experience, especially people who have really done a lot of their own heavy lifting on their soul work, right?
Yeah.
We're in it for a few minutes and we're like, okay, now we've cleared the rest of the gunk that is no longer serving us. It's just beautiful. I have one client that I work with very regularly, and within 2 months, they went from like basically having like no direction, feeling like they had no purpose.
Yeah.
And they've now opened their business in 2 months.
Yeah.
What? You know? And so just like watching these transitions happening, watching people blossom, that is my gift. So like I share my gift in my ability of my service of like the brain spotting, holding the space, tuning into our biofields. That's all my service, my gift to you. Your gift back to me, the synergy, is me watching you blossom.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and what a beautiful exchange that is. I'm just getting so excited because I'm like, I want to send so many people to you. No. But also really, I want to learn this. And it's interesting because I intuitively really connected into it and got into it, but I have to proclaim it is a gift. I mean, there's something about you that you really have jumped in and have these keys, and I'm freaking excited.
So actually, one thing that I would like to share with everyone here, just to kind of get into like a little bit of the history of brain spotting.
Yeah.
There's this technique. Everyone can do it at home. Everyone's already doing it at home.
Yeah.
It's called gaze spotting. So ancient cultures, right? You sit on the top of a field and you're watching the waves of grain, and you just kind of slowly soften your gaze, you soften your focus, and your brain is processing, right? Just focusing. And you notice this. And some people call it a dissociation, and that's fine. You can use whatever word you'd like, but what's really happening is your brain is processing. You know, you turn off your thinking mind, your emotional mind turns on, and you start processing, right? Babies do it. We do it naturally. Just my challenge would be to reassign what you call a dissociation. Anytime you notice your gaze softening, your gaze spotting, your brain is doing processing. It's streamlining.
Wow. I'm taking that one in. And, you know, and really when we notice that, we can actually really just offer ourselves support in it and say, yay, go for it.
And really after I learned the technique about gaze spotting, because I learned that technique before I even went through my training to be a practitioner. So what I was recognizing as I was like doing my own gaze spotting, I lost my train of thought. That's fine. Oh, ADHD, LOL. Oh my God, that was cute. I love it. Anyways, so what I recognized is that when I would do my gaze spotting, it was like almost like honoring my ADHD in a way. You know, something in my cognition was pulling my focus away from whatever I had to do, whatever task was in front of me. And I just had to acknowledge that like my brain wanted something else. I needed to show myself some grace in whatever was in front of me in that moment to take care of whatever's on the back end log that's clogging me up so then I can come back and focus. You know, and I even noticed it now in my day to day. I work from home. What does it take to start a load of laundry? 90 seconds. So go just take 90 seconds for yourself, clear your mind so you can get to it. Instead of like putzing around, it's in the back of your mind and now you've wasted an hour. You know?
Yes, I do this all the time. It's you know, being at home and working from home. It's so funny how that happens. I'm really interested. I feel like there's something else here for me. I'm just, you know, I'm feeling into my little energy, and there's something hanging out on my left side right here. It feels like it wants to be cleared, like something gets to be cleared or opened up. And you talk about, interestingly enough, I just had a discussion with someone where they were like, you get to remember a few things. And I'm wondering if that's what's coming up. Like I get to remember a few things. If not, that's cool. It doesn't matter. But that's what's coming to my mind. And you spoke about how in your healing, you started remembering things. And that was a part of the process of that. When people do that, was this brain spotting really a part of something that helped assist you in that healing during that remembrance or as a part of that remembrance?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to actually have like a really big share here. So during my initial brain spotting experience, I was processing traumas that when they came up, it made sense as to why my life was the way it was, why I had the challenges I had, these blocks, these like soul pieces that needed to be healed. Everything made sense when those repressed memories came up. I just needed help learning how to handle it. So now I've learned how to handle it. I'm in my blossoming phase. And lo and behold, what I learn is I have this, we'll call it a condition. It's a human condition called multiplicity. And essentially what happens is I've got these different parts of myself, different parts of the universe that all talk to me. And some of them come out at different times. Some of them decide not to. So what happened was all of these systems came online. They introduced themselves. I'm getting to know them. And what I recognized, hindsight being 2020, is that all of this brain spotting that I had done because of repressed memories had now allowed me to integrate before I even knew that like this was going to be a thing for me. So for me, anyways, it was one of those levels of healing where it was really a testament to the human journey. Like it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And so like, how deep do you want to go? That's your choice. It's all a choice. We have free will. And so I think really what it was is I sent a prayer. You know, I just decided I'm worthy. I can have these things just because I decide I can have these things. And I was like, so what's stopping me? And here we go. All these systems saying, here we are. This is stopping you, and that's stopping you, and that's stopping you. And it's been a really enlightening journey for me. And I think from a clinical sense, if I hadn't already had my sort of spiritual awakening, if I already didn't have my path illuminated, I think this would have been a very traumatic experience. You know, if I'm thinking about it, instead of like this community support that I feel from the metaphysical world, if I had gone the clinical route, that would have not been nurturing for my soul. So
I feel that.
For me, it was a really, really big journey. And I really think like with brain spotting, you heal things that you didn't even know needed to be healed until you're on the other side of it. So like after this session, right, I call it the dust settling period for 2 or 3 days, where it's just like light bulb epiphanies. Holy crap, how did I not see that before? How did I not get that? And then 6 to 9 months later, it's like and maybe other people's timeline is different, but 6 to 9 months is my magic period. That's when I'm like standing and I'm looking back and I'm like, whoa, yeah, I feel it now, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like initially, this is kind of how I associate it. It's like initially while you're in that session, it's like a little trickle. And then by the time we get to that 6 to 9 month mark, now we're on like the Grand Canyon, right? We are in a raft. We are white watering it and going with that flow.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Oh my gosh. I love how you're speaking. And me, someone who I naturally jump into kind of loving etheric journeying and, you know, exploration. I mean, I'm just like, yeah, let's ride that raft down that river. And, you know, it's just a really cool process, a real fun thing. So it's fun to feel that. You know, I'm thinking to some members of my family, and there is some neurodivergence stuff that's happening, and I'm just thinking about how cool this kind of experience might be for them, right? To feel into it. But I think what I want is just a little bit more of a taste, and then I can feel into what I can get more of a broad sense of experiencing it, because I've experienced a lot of different energetic practices, but this is really cool and unique. And I'm excited to feel what this is. So is there anything that comes to mind that you want to, you know, how you might want to work with me just a little bit more, kind of give people an example of how this works?
Yeah. Well, I felt like the worthiness piece of it really cleared out a lot. I guess, do you have any other pain points in your life right now? where you're, and maybe not even a pain point, but something you want to grow?
Yeah, I think for me, surrounding relationships. I'm not, I feel like I need to pinpoint it a little bit more. Like, it's almost, this is a feeling that's coming through me, a feeling of, it's almost like true masculine dedication and support is like a ghost.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like I get a little taste, but it's just like a ghost, right? It's not the real thing.
Yeah. So this is coming in with like your relational experiences.
Yeah.
I do want to dive in. Let's dive in. Okay. So
and
starting
I'm open
right
to
over here.
It's all good.
Well, because here's the thing is you're saying this and it's really reminiscent of lived experiences multiple times over my own, and then like a third party seeing someone else's lived experience and then them sharing that with me, and I'm like, well, I've got the perfect thing to say.
Yeah.
So with these relational experiences, this ghost of this like masculine healing supportive energy,
Yeah.
we've now got our baseline, right? And we're creating a binary.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our 180 degrees of shit I don't want. You are creating the 180 degree reflection of shit I do want. This is how my supportive masculine energy functions, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I see this. This doesn't align.
Yeah.
This is how I'm going to regroup. This is how I'm going to paddle myself in a different direction. This is how I'm going to change the collective consciousness of Earth.
Yes.
So creating that binary system, as you can see, makes us whole. And I really liked that we had this opportunity for the visual.
Yes. Yes. So if those who are listening, really, we're looking at it as a full circle, because that's what we're doing. And I often feel in my body systems, one side feels like it's a different system than the other energetically. I'll feel that at different times really strongly, and other times not. So it's interesting that you're doing that. It's like one side representing the expression of what isn't in alignment. And from that, really, you getting a reflection of what really is in alignment, and them actually creating a whole together, right? And if I'm visualizing that, would I and the real I be in the center? I'm a person who loves geometry. I'm a person who loves to see what this is.
Perfect, because my reference is sacred geometry.
Perfect.
That's literally perfect. Okay, so in sacred geometry, we get back to unity point, right?
Yeah.
So we have this circle, and I'm just going to reference, we're going to use our 3D terms now. This circle is our body. This unity point right in the center, that's our soul, right?
Yeah.
The alignment piece is when we're exactly pinpointed right in the center. That's like bringing your circle tighter and tighter and tighter, right? And then bringing this back to the relational piece and sacred geometry, when we start making these authentic connections, when we start authentically supporting each other exactly as we are and exactly as we are not, now we're creating the flower of life pattern.
Yes, I love that. And if any of you aren't familiar with this, maybe I'll have it on the thumbnail sketch of what goes up so that you can see that image behind Cat of what that looks like, because it's the perfect representation. Perfect. I love that.
Isn't it interesting how we can break it down to basic rudimentary geometric circles to be able to explain the complexities of the human experience? It's wild to me.
Well, I think it's beautiful because we can see our experience and then identify and say, oh, this is just me playing out this portion, and let me, I'm going to bring in this. Now I can identify the other side. I can identify what the center is. I can expand from there. I can see this in movement, in motion, when it's fully engaged and fully interacted. And that's a part of what I'm doing here, is to be in that process and identify and know it and say, yes, this is it. This is what's happening. But I love that we shared that between the two of us. That's really cool. Yeah. Is there anything we want to jump into, or do you feel like that's really?
Yes, actually.
Cool. Okay.
So as we're talking about this, we're talking about ourselves as a circle, our body being the outer bounds, that center point being our soul. So now I'm just going to morph this metaphor a little bit. Let's turn this circle into an octopus. Okay. So the body, this outer circle, is now just going to be the head, the bulb of this octopus. Okay. And out from the edges are the 8 arms. Okay. And what I like to use the octopus to represent is choice and free will versus destiny and fate. So when a soul is born, imagine you're this octopus just like plop into the programming. Yeah. And each arm is a path you can take from your soul center point. Okay. And as we know, octopus can clap hands. All 8 of them can come right together. So if at any point in time you feel like you're on the wrong path, you're not. You just need to bring your hands together. You just need to integrate. You need to clear that clutter, that mental clutter, right? Because you can. Anything that you're learning on any point of this soul journey, even if it's the exact opposite of what you want your life to believe or what you believe your life to be, it's because it's showing you it is. You have the ability to bring it to that other point. So.
Oh, okay. I'm feeling that energetically. Yeah. And so that's a quick way of really bringing those two together. Boom. Yep. And being able to identify, this is one side, this is the other side. Awesome. Now I've identified. Exactly. Okay. Awesome. Continue leading the way.
Well, yeah. And I mean, really, that was kind of the message that I wanted to bring tonight. Is we started with unconditional love and how that relates to our relationships with ourselves and other people and being mirrors for each other, and really just acknowledging that we're all source having a human experience. And humans make lots of mistakes. And the best part about mistakes is that we learn how to do it better. Sometimes. I don't know. Sometimes I say these things and then I'm like, but look at what the ancient cultures created. Atlantis was far beyond us, like.
Wow, we don't need to go into that. But
I know. We're not doing that rabbit hole. All right.
Oh my God. Another time. That's awesome. I love that. I love the Atlanteans, the Lemurians and the Atlanteans. Yes. I love that. Oh gosh, this has been a beautiful, beautiful time with you. And I just feel like we're going to have more and more discussions, and it's just going to be great. I'm just learning so much just being in your presence, Kat. And if anyone wants to jump in and be in your world, how do they get a hold of you, Kat?
Yeah, I have a website, expandedexpression.com. So drop the E's on the beginning of each of those words and you've got me. I have a beautiful rainbow lioness. Anytime you're booking my services, that is my spirit animal. That's how you're going to know it's me. I think I was just explaining this to someone today, so I go by Cat, and most people think house cat, like, oh, I'm just gonna like rub up on you and love on you. Like, I'm a lion. Yes. I like action. I slink, and I've got a nice loud voice. I roar. I let people know I'm here. So yeah.
That's so cool.
Rainbow lion, expanded expression, integrative healing. I help you. And actually, before we go, I think this is something that I really like to bring up to people, because I do acknowledge that we set our minds up in a binary to be able to process, simply because we have a left brain and a right brain. But reality is a trinity, right? Yeah. So we've got, I call it my coin theory. We've got heads, tails, and then the edge of the coin. So this integrative healing modality, what it really does is it integrates your mind, your body, and your soul, your spirit. Yeah. It gets the brain in line with the body. And then from there, your body is releasing any sort of like emotional bonds, those psychological bonds, which then allows your soul to really just settle in and just like relax a little bit, ease into being alive.
Okay, I've taken your orders. Ease into being alive.
Yes, please do. Yeah, it's so fun.
It is. And part of me and my mission is really claiming celebration and play. Is even when we go super deep into this experience, and we're claiming all these shadow aspects and all of these things, that we get to claim in our lives. But it's been lovely hanging out with you, and I will make sure that links are below set for everyone. And who knows what adventures await us all together here on Welcome to Channeling. I'm just excited for what I'm learning along the way. And once again, I thank you, Kat, for being here with me. And I wish love and blessings to everyone here.
This reboot exercise can be done with the support of a pet, like a dog or cat, or simply through your imagination. Both options work very nicely and will help bring a renewed sense of calmness into your being. Sit, feeling relaxed and open. Breathe in and out deeply, allowing any stress or strain to be released. Imagine your cat or favorite pet in front of you. You will be showing love to this pet, and through that connection, also clearing and cleaning your auric field. Start very gently, introducing yourself to your real or imaginary pet. Say, "Hello, it's so nice that you are here with me. I would like to show you some love," and clean and clear your energy so that you may feel alive, free, and vibrant. As you say this, imagine and see the beautiful connection between you and them, how their energetic field is tied with yours, and vice versa. They are connected and in service to you. Sense the approval of this animal. Take a nice deep breath in And as you breathe out, start at the top of the head of your pet, brushing softly. Bring your fingers through the fur, down the back. Feel the correlation between your body and your pet's. As you brush down the back of your pet, you will feel the energy release along your spine. Do this again, becoming aware of the sensations you feel in your body as you brush down your pet's back. Remember, this is to release any energetic blockages that are occurring. Continue breathing as you brush, and keep on shifting where you brush. You may choose after one pass to go through another time a little deeper. Gently seep your fingers into the fur as deep as you want to go and as much as you feel is comfortable. The deeper you go, the more will be cleared and cleaned in your and your pet's system. Always be considerate of your animal. Slow down in spaces you feel called to. As you do so, bring your attention and love there. Remember that this animal is allowing their energy to be of support to you. Feel the energy shifting as you move along. Continue brushing even down to the paws. Before we end, take a few moments to brush around your pet in the energy field surrounding it. Use both of your hands to swipe down on the outside of this pet and feel as the same thing is happening in your energetic field around your body. You are lovingly gathering up and guiding all the extra things that don't belong there to fall down into the ground and sink into the soil. Imagine it falling onto the ground and the earth welcoming it in. As you feel this, take a moment to re-infuse your energetic system. Open your hands and connecting your thumbs and pointer fingers together, create a triangle. This is a triangle you can look through. Lift this triangle above your head and imagine an infusion of light entering from above into your body. This bright light energizes and leaves you feeling connected. Take 3 deep breaths, sending some of this energy to your pet. And then rest. Now take a moment to thank your pet. You have rebooted your day, cleaning your auric field and inviting in vital energy to your system.
Look for the link below to find out more about NeuroArt with Cat Gollata.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Welcome to Channeling. Till the next episode, own your stage and play on.
Hot Muffin Media.